Year 6381. In an abandoned library in the King Lorien's region of Dova, Draven Hardem, the Lord of Piltover, seeks out his son Rolan, attempting to stop him from freeing a great demon from its prison. Draven was old, but not weak. He descended into the circle of runes with the fury of a younger man and the force of a master battle mage. Though a spellcaster by blood and training, he bore 3 ancient relics that made him more than mortal. The Wyrmsteel Aegis, a silver kite shield engraved with the burning eyes of a gold dragon. The Spellbreaker harness, a blackened breastplate woven with threads of plainer silver and demonhide. And the Eitherfang, a runed longsword that could siphon energy from spellcasters. They fought across the entire basement, magic burning through pillars, runes flickering, books bursting into flame. Draven moved like a warrior priest, mixing sword strokes and spellcraft with uncanny discipline. He hurled arcane bolts, conjured radiant chains, and struck with his blade in close quarters. Rolan, scarred and bleeding, fought with fury and desperation. His power flowed from the cursed scimitar, Lucago's voice guiding him, whispering strategies, tempting him to release more and more of the power sealed within. He unleashed eldritch blasts shaped like spears, abyssal tentacles that burst from the floor, and even called forth the hellhound avatar of Lucago's will to harry his father. They fought for nearly an hour, each refusing to fall, magic clashing with blood. Walls crumbled, the floor cracked, and the summoning circle grew unstable. Draven stood, panting, his shield shattered, armor hanging by threads, and sword barely holding its edge. His voice cracked, not with fear, but bitter certainty.
I should have killed you that day you returned from the wilds.
Rolan, scorched and bruised, his body nearly failing him, lifted the scimitar that now bled like a living wound.
You did? The only part of me that needed you died there.
A's Wildlands, west of Piltover. Year 6376. 5 years ago. The forest was too quiet. The trees of A's Wildlands stood tall and pale, their bark sickly white, their branches long and sharp, like spears piercing the sky. No birdsong, no breeze, just tension. Rolan, barely a man, barely trusted, stood among a company of 6. These included Captain Draven Hardem, his uncle, the seasoned swordsman and his father's proud younger brother, and 4 Monronian guards, clad in light armor and bearing spears and bows, as well as himself, carrying a map and a dagger he barely knew how to wield. They had been tracking kobold raiding signs for 2 days. What they found instead was death in miniature. The ambush came when the moon was high. Screeching kobolds erupted from behind roots, from the treetops, from below the moss-covered soil. Saw one guard impaled through the throat before he could cry out. Another was pulled screaming into a net of thorns. Blood soaked the moss in seconds.
Rolan, behind me!
Garen's voice barked like a war horn, and the old soldier fought with terrifying skill, cutting down 3 kobolds in a flash of steel. But there were too many, dozens, maybe more. Red-eyed little beasts with curved blades and poisonous tips. Rolan froze. This isn't a battle. It's a slaughter. And then he ran. He sprinted through the undergrowth, chased by shrieking kobolds and the echoes of dying men. Branches slashed his face. A spear grazed his shoulder. Panic roared louder than reason. And then, he tripped. He tumbled down a slope of moss and stone, crashing into a clearing that should not have existed. The air felt wrong here, warped, heavy, humming with heat and hatred. The ground was blackened, burnt in a perfect circle, and in its center stood a stone altar, cracked and ancient. Embedded in the altar was a scimitar. It glowed faintly red and dripped blood that never touched the stone below. And it whispered,
"Take me, little one. You will not die here. I can make you strong. Strong enough to matter. Strong enough to be remembered."
Rolan crawled forward, tears and dirt smeared across his face. The shrieks of the kobolds getting louder, closer.
I don't want to die.
"Then take me."
He wrapped his hands around the hilt. The moment he pulled the blade free, the world changed. Runes bloomed across his forearm, and his veins burned black with new power. His pupils dilated, his vision blurred, and then sharpened with horrifying clarity. He turned to face the oncoming swarm, and he unleashed hell. The kobolds fell like wheat. Eldritch fire surged from his palm. With each swing of the blade, screams echoed, and limbs flew. He wasn't fighting with skill. He was a storm, possessed by fury and eldritch wrath. The blade fed on fear, whispered his enemy's movements, showed him how to kill. By the time it was done, the clearing was filled with smoke, blood, and silence. He stood alone. He returned to the battlefield too late. Garen lay face down, a kobold spear through his spine. His blood soaked into the roots of the forest. The other soldiers were hacked apart, unburied and rotting. No survivors, only Rolan, the boy who ran. But now, he had the blade, and the blade had him. From that day forward, his father never forgave him, never believed he survived by skill, only by cowardice, only by luck. But Rolan knew the truth. He didn't survive. He was reborn. With a scream of rage and grief, Rolan thrust the cursed blade through Draven's chest, pinning him to a column of cracked stone. Blood gushed from the wound. Not just mortal blood, but essence, drawn into the blade to feed Lucago. Draven stared into his son's eyes, seeing for the first time the man he became, and the demon he had allowed to grow. And then he died. The room fell silent. Rolan collapsed to his knees. The summoning circle pulsed once, then again, and split open, revealing the howling void of the abyss. He stood slowly, not victorious, but committed, and stepped through.